What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the axe kick. I'm going to show you guys KO footage. We're going to talk about the effectiveness of this kick and whether you should be bothering to add it into your training routine at all. This is an interesting technique for me because it was one of my go-to kicks when I used to compete in karate. So today, guys, Andy Hoog, the axe kick, does it work? That's the topic of conversation. Alright guys, if you've been around my channel before, you know I don't like to sugarcoat things, I just like to give you the truth. And talking about the axe kick is kind of one of those subjects. A lot of gyms teach it, a lot of people throw it, but is it really effective? I'm not going to hype up this kick unless I really believe it's something you should add to your arsenal. So let's start off and let's go through the technique of the axe kick, because there are different ways to throw it and I want everybody to understand the best way to throw it before we get into whether you should really bother utilizing this. So the first question a lot of people have when they throw an axe kick is, as I bring my leg up, should it be chambered or should it be straight? The next question that a lot of people want to know is, should I come this direction with my back leg or this direction? This way or this way? So let's start off with those two topics and then we'll move on from there. If you bring your knee up to this position, it is good for faking, because once you're here, you could throw a front kick, you could turn the kick over into a round kick, but it lacks power because you're bringing the leg up and then you have to extend out and then you have to drop, as opposed to swinging the leg up, gaining all that momentum. The higher you get the leg, the better off you're going to be, the more speed you can draw into the drop downwards. So I prefer to keep an almost straight leg. You're obviously not going to lock it out 100%, but almost straight, swing it up and then drop it down. Now next, that brings us to which direction do we bring our leg? And this, for me, is all personal preference. Andy Hoog would often bring his leg from outside to in. I prefer going inside to out. I find it's much more powerful for me. And if we want to knock somebody down, we have to bring our heel right up and onto the face. You certainly can drop your heel onto the trap or onto the edge of the neck, but if you really want to land this with a lot of damage, it really needs to come onto the face. I've landed this before in my amateur fights. You come up right on top of their head, you swing it up, you drop it down, and then all of a sudden the guy's still standing there and you're going, well, I guess that was a waste of time. So landing right to there, it makes a big dramatic knock, but in my experience, you don't put people down with it. Now I want to show you guys some clips of Andy Hoog and somebody else, I'm not sure who he is, just an amateur fighter, scoring knockdowns with this technique. And as we're watching this, the one conclusion that I'm able to draw from it is, yes, people go down, but it's unlikely that you're going to knock a very high level kickboxer down. The guys Andy Hoog is knocking down in those clips, they are not high level kickboxers, they're high level karate practitioners, and in all honesty, they're probably not used to getting hit to the face. So when the leg comes up and down, they get hit, they're not used to it, they drop. When we see the kickboxers get hit with this same technique, it's very rare for them to drop because they're used to getting punched in the face, kicked in the head with a shin, dropping a heel or the bottom of the foot into their face. It's just not going to have the same impact as any of these other techniques where we're coming like this or we're coming up like that. Those are going to be so much more powerful. So yes, axe kicks. If you're an amateur fighter, really at any stage of your amateur career, and you like throwing axe kicks, keep throwing them. They will probably eventually knock somebody down, and most people just don't know how to defend them. They're not great at dealing with them, so if you're scoring, that's fantastic. But once you reach a high level, personally, for myself, I have stopped training the axe kick. I gave up on it about 8-9 years ago. I went, you know what, I'm not dropping anybody with this kick. If they deal with it correctly, they're going to jam me. So if I'm aiming to the top of his head and he moves forward and he jams it, instead of my heel landing, all of a sudden it's my calf. And then from there, all he has to do is push forward a little bit more, and then I'm going to get knocked over. Now, obviously, he's not going to catch it with his head. I'm not talking about the kicks coming in, I just go like this. I'm talking about hands are up, you see the kick coming, you jam it with a high guard, the kick lands on top of the gloves, and then you can just push them over. Alternatively, when you see the axe kick coming, you just step back because the area or the impact zone is very small. We're talking about that big. You step forward or backward, you're outside that zone. The kick will no longer land. Now, let's take a moment and talk very quickly about a couple axe kick setups, the ones that I like the best, because as we're talking about defense It's good to keep in mind that a little pushback or a little push in is going to make the kick pretty much not work. I need to have this guy stationary. In order for him to be stationary and me to land the kick right where I want him, I need to do something like throw a front kick. I throw a front kick. I get him stationary. I get him to start dropping his elbows. As soon as he sees this leg come up, it doesn't matter if I come from here, which is going to be less powerful like we talked about at the beginning of the video, or I swing it right up. Either one, if he's already scared of the kick, he's going to freeze. So from there, because in here I'm too tight, so front kick is the perfect range, and then from there I can lift it up and drop it down. The axe kick is interesting because when we think about all the basic kicks, front kick, side kick, round kick, hook kick, axe kick, there's really only 5 that I add in to my explanation of all the basic kicks. But hook kick, not very effective. If you do a spinning hook kick, yes, very effective, but just on its own doesn't do much. Axe kick, again, doesn't do much. Side kick, spinning side kick, very good. Side kick on its own, it's hit or miss. Depends on how effective you are with it. If you're elite with it, very effective. If you're not elite with it, I'm still a little bit torn on it. Front kick and round kick, those are my 2 go-to ones that seem to work all the time. So the axe kick is kind of funny in my opinion that it's in those basic kicks because it's really not an effective one. If I was going to list out for somebody what should you bother learning, it would not include the axe kick. It would be get really good at front kicks, round kicks, and of course knees. You have those 3, it doesn't matter what else you know. Now, just because I'm saying the axe kick is not the most effective kick in the world does not mean you need to disregard it. Keep in mind that even if you're never going to throw the axe kick in a fight, it's still good to throw it up and down. It's still good to have training partners who throw at you, because when you throw something and you see something coming at you time and time again, it makes you understand that much better how you're going to deal with it if you ever fight somebody with that skill set. If you ever went up with somebody who's like an amateur Stephen Wonderboy Thompson or Raymond Daniels, and you've never had a spinning side kick, spinning hook kick, axe kick, hook kick come at you, you're gonna be in trouble. But if you're comfortable with the defense aspect on all of those, you're going to make their life very difficult. So don't disregard the axe kick, even if you're not going to throw it. And if you're somebody who likes it, keep using it. I would just throw it away when I get to a high level, because realistically the guys are too tough. The kick does not create enough power, and I just don't find it to be effective. That's just my personal opinion. Guys, what do you think? Axe kick, yes or no? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, guys, give it a like. If you have not already, join the channel, join the community, get subscribed. Train hard, guys, and I'll see you back here soon for another video.